so much.
We are so glad to have you. And Heidi, if you can, you know, we're going to ask you some questions, but
Sure.
the toughest question for artists, who is Heidi J?
Oh, wow. So some claim that she is a Renaissance woman. I kid. I grew up in Apollo. My maiden name is Dorado, so I have roots in the area. My grandparents had a house in Island, PA. And, you know, I spent a lot of time in Indiana County. So when I was told or enlightened about the show and really the Brooke Strand and Ugly Guys just had such a great time here that they were like, you totally should go play. Yeah. You should reach out to Anthony and he'd love you. So they hooked it up.
Those guys are amazing. They were at we did the Underground Railroad,
okay.
Which was an event as a fundraiser for the Underground Railroad. They have a museum in Blairsville, and we had some other artists scheduled for this event. And Brooke and Ugly weren't going to play, but so I invited Mona, who put the show together, and at the last minute these artists backed out. So we had it was awful. So Mona's like, I need something upbeat. I said, Mona, I know. I said, bringing some guests on. I think they may be able to. She said, well, who are they? I said, well, just come up and listen to them. The look on her face when they started playing was priceless.
Oh,
and they became just like this. And they just put on a show. Mona was in love with them, and it was perfect.
I'll tell you what, man, I love going to see them play. There's so much energy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, they talked about you now. I want you to talk about you. I know that's the hard part.
Yeah, I know, it's always difficult.
But you talk about yourself you talk about your life through your songs, but you said you grew up in?
I grew up in Apollo.
Okay, now, what does that mean? What did you do in Apollo? I mean, were you a good student, bad student, rebel rouser?
I was one of those kids that didn't miss a day of school.
Oh.
I had perfect attendance, pretty much all 4 years.
Perfect attendance?
Yeah,
okay.
I had pretty high GPA.
Okay.
I graduated with honors and then went to Clarendon University, so not too far. I didn't go too far after school. And that's where I started playing with guitar and things. I had a buddy, his name was Skink. He taught me how to play.
Skink?
Yeah, that was his nickname. His name was Kenny, but he was Skink. And I used to meet him at this little coffee shop down in Clarion. It's called Michelle's Cafe. Awesome little coffee shop. Felt like home, you know, a little warm environment. So we used to play there, and he would teach me how to do chord progressions and everything. And I was a youth minister, so
a youth minister.
Yeah, I was. Well, not by paperwork, but the college really provided a great outreach, and they kind of partnered you up with different youth groups. So I was a youth mentor at the Presbyterian church there. So it was that's kind of where I got my opportunity to start singing was up in Clarion at in Brookville at the Scarlet Chord, and that was really great because the Scarlet Chord was a great atmosphere for new up and coming artists to kind of dabble in what they were doing and play around. So it was a lot of fun. But sure, I had just started writing my own music, and they invited me after hearing me sing to open up for a heavy metal band.
Heavy metal?
Yeah, they're screamers, man.
Yeah, that's just nuts right there.
I'm a solo acoustic tiny little girl standing on stage. And they're like guar, you know? Well, they weren't dressed up in costumes, but they sounded like guar.
They do the hair, the screaming thing?
The one guy had really long hair. The other guy had just cut all of his hair off, so, you know, he was kind of transitioning out of that role and into daddyhood. So he was trying to look a little bit more the part.
Well, I brought a couple of guys from the band Soul. The SOW is here, and I wanted them to at least hear you play a little bit before they listen. Heidi Jacobs. They're not dangerous. They look a little dangerous.
They're scary over there.
Yeah, they're gonna
sweatshirts and
yeah, I know.
Eagles. Do you know where you are?
They're gonna.
This part of the state.
They're gonna. They may be performing next week, and we don't know. And David's running around somewhere. I don't know where he's at. But anyway, so you grew up and you were a straight A student, and you opened for a metal band.
Yeah.
That is just
Sure.
weird and strange. And
It's a strange path.
now you did some worship stuff. What church did you do worship at?
At the Clarion Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
First Presby.
Okay.
Right along there. And then I was a member of Koinonia in school.
Is she videotaping us or you?
Probably everybody.
No! Stop that. I can't believe she's doing that.
My dad wants part of the experience.
It's right there. We're videotaping.
Right.
So just relax and enjoy
Say
the
hi,
show.
Dad.
Jeez, oh man. I look up and I see this box in front of her face. I'm like, what is she doing?
I'm trying to see your eyes, woman.
Please stop doing that. Okay. So, and when did you become a songwriter?
In college it was a tumultuous time because you're young and it's the first time you're on your own and there's all these things happening and I had this guitar, so I thought, well, I'll write some music, and they were never songs meant to be heard by other people at all until the Scarlet Chord was like, hey, you actually have an okay voice. Why don't you open for a couple of these bands? We've got a house band and we've got a lot of people coming in that play and they need an opening act, a warmer.
Right.
So I'd go in, and the first time I remember standing up there going, what am I doing? These songs are incredibly personal. This is just totally embarrassing. What if people don't understand what I'm saying? What if I don't enunciate well? What if my hand goes numb and I can't play the guitar? All these, the first time you perform, it's like, it's claustrophobic.
Right.
It's terrible. But then, once you get into it, it's like, oh wait, this is home.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Why don't you play us another selection?
Sure.
What are you going to play for us?
I will go with. We'll do Bloody Unions. This is one of my early songs.
All right. You're listening live to Acoustic at 1160 WCCS. Heidi Jacobs.
Show some restraint in your growling. Did you ever stop to think of what it was you've been doing to erase my attention so far from your liking? Is it for me that you work so hard? Is it for me that you reach so deep? And it's you and far between that I offer penance inside of a bitter revenge. And why would you be the one to receive such an open target painted by my own bloody hands? And beyond such regret that you seem to harbor, there is nothing to salvage. My hope in you was misinformed, and my trust there was unending. Now stops at my fingertips. My fingertips. Caressing the wounds that you left on my body. Caressing the wounds that you left on my body. And you were far between that I offer penance you